there, YouTube. So, this is the first ever video of 2014 coming from me, so Happy New Year. And whatever you did on New Year's, I hope it was very entertaining and enjoyable, and hopefully you watched a few of my videos, because that's how people celebrate the New Year, apparently. Sorry, this video is way off track already. Today, I will be talking about a little cool thing called Britpop, which, for those of you who don't know, was back in, I think it was like the mid to late 90s, in the Englands over there. They have this thing called Britpop, and it stood for British pop music, but also came off as rocky sounding, so it wasn't like Bieber-y stuff. Yeah, so it's bands though, just example. It was bands like Blur, Oasis, Pulp. I think Suede was one of them. I never really gave them a shot, but I'm pretty sure that's another one, and there were other bands. In my mind, the biggest ones were Pulp, Blur, and Oasis, with Blur and Oasis definitely being the tippity top. To be fair though, I was born in June 1996, which means there is not a single shred of memory of me before a year or two ago knowing anything about Britpop. So, fair shot. I was not around in that time, so I don't know what I'm talking about all the time, but I like to pretend I do. Probably not something I should say. But no, anyway, so Pulp, Blur, and Oasis, the British pop, rocky sounding groups. And over the last year, I've really gone into it. Like, first was, back in 6th grade or so, I discovered Oasis, and I fell in love with them. At first, it was just like, back then, it was just I only really liked, you know, like the best of the hits or whatever the hell it was. But recently I've been getting more and more into like some of the other stuff that you won't find on a greatest hits album, but is amazing. Like let's take like Slide Away or Married with Children or Guess God Thinks I'm Able, and all that fun stuff. Oasis had some very good tracks that you may not be aware of, so go listen to some Oasis. But especially though, speaking of Britpop, a year ago I really got into the band Pulp. And it's gotten to the point where I'm freakishly obsessed with them. If I hear just the mention of Jarvis Cocker at Pulp, I will freak the fluffing shiz out. I go mental about it. So I like them a lot. I like them. They're good. And then another band I've always heard of, but I didn't really give a shot before, is this little band called Blur, which was one of the biggest Britpop bands back when Britpop was a thing. It was like Blur versus Oasis. It was a very controversial thing, you know. They would be attacking each other, they'd be, you know, poking fun at each other here and there, and the fans got in arguments. It was like, this thing's better, no, this thing's better, this thing's better, this thing's better, Team Edward, Team Jacob, blah 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 blah, that sort of thing. And in the end, people still to this day have not settled on a winner. Oasis! But you know, people have their opinions. Personally, like I said, I prefer Oasis over Blur, but also prefer Pulp by far over Oasis, because Pulp is amazing, and if you say a single bad thing about Mr. Cocker, I will not do anything. So this is the internet, what am I going to do? Leave you an angry comment? Oh no, he might disagree with me. Ugh. Anyways, just getting off topic. But no, so one thing I love to death, because I really got into Britpop recently-ish. And one thing I realized I love about it, you know, I wasn't able to make the connection before, but especially in Pulp and Blur, and not as much in Oasis, but still, you know, it's there. I love the ability in the lyrics. You often see they take the mundane and they just romanticize the hell out of it, which I love. Like, listen to the song like Common People by Pulp. This is an amazing example. Common People is a song about this girl that walks up to Jarvis, and you know, she's from this like rich upper class sort of place, and you know, she sees Jarvis and she's like, hey, I wanna be like you. I wanna be like the common people. I wanna do whatever common people do. And Jarvis says, you know, like, hey, you can pretend, you can like cut your hair, get a job, you can live in the shittiest place out there. But still, you'll never get it right, because at the end of the day, you can just phone up your dad, he'll pull you out of there, you can't live like the common people. And he's singing about how essentially life is like, this is me interpreting the lyrics, but essentially from what I get, it's like, he's saying like, you know, life for the common people, sure, it can be a shithole, but it's like their shithole, it's their shitty life, and they gotta make the best of it, you know, sure, it's repetitive, it's awful, you know, there's cheap stains and grease, or is it chip? I can't remember, it's either chip or cheap. There's stains and grease like everywhere. But that's life, and she will never be able to live like the common people. And then also, Blur has a song called End of a Century, in which they sing about, essentially, it's like, I guess it's about the end of the 90s or something, going into millennium. Once again, my interpretation, this is not necessarily what it means, but from what I get, it's basically he's singing, hey, the century's ending, but you know, in 2000 everyone's like, oh, things are going to change, you know, everything will be different. But he's like, no, we're going to wear the same clothes, we're going to, you know, because we still feel the same at the end of the day, we're still going to kiss with the same dried lips that we've always done. Like, it's just going to continue being the same old boring life, you know, nothing exciting will happen day to day, but that's that. And he's not necessarily saying it's the most awful thing ever, but in no way is he really glamorizing it. But, you know, with songs like these, Pulp and Blur romanticize it to death, you know? It's sort of like you see often in media, there's the whole thing of like somebody dying as a hero. You know, like, let's say like, they're about to shoot all the orphans, like, pew, 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 but the guy jumps in front of every last bullet, he's like, oh, not the orphans! And he falls down, I got Star Wars playlists, and he falls down and everything, he takes the bullets. He doesn't want to get shot, but he does, and it's cool, and everyone's like, I really want to get shot instead of all those orphans, that'd be fun, I want to die by being shot. And it romanticizes something that isn't necessarily pleasurable, but you can still take pleasure in it. Don't know what that was. Like I said, this video was not planned. So anyways, that is all for now. If you made it this far, once again, free Lamborghini for you. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.